Hello everyone. This time we will continue with our other examples related to solving word problems involving linear equations. So we're now at example number 6. So example 6 is actually a mixture problem under chemistry. So we have here 40 ounces of 30% alcohol solution were mixed with 80 ounces of a 20% alcohol solution. What was the percentage of alcohol in the resulting solution? So just like last time, we will apply RESCA when we try to organize our work to arrive in our answer. So we'll start with R. So in R, we are asked to represent. So as we all know, you go back to the question all the time and that's what you need to represent. What is missing is the percentage of alcohol in the resulting solution. So that's it. So we say let X be the percentage of alcohol in the resulting solution. And then we proceed to our equation. Okay. Now, to better understand what is happening from the word itself, mixture, we're trying to mix up here two different liquids. So that will we will be able to come up with an idea that the equation is simply okay. So the amount of pure alcohol in, let's say, the first mixture is in container A. So we say container A added with another mixture of pure alcohol in another container. So we say in container B. When we try to mix them up, we will be able to come up with a new solution. So we say this is the amount of pure alcohol in container C. So take note, we're talking about alcohol here. Percentage of alcohol in each solution. That's why this is what we say in our equation. So we'll start with our container A. So our container A contains 40 ounces of 30% alcohol solution. So when we translate the word of, always remember that's multiplication. So that means it's just 40 times 30% in decimal, that's 0.3. Okay, now added with the amount of pure alcohol in container B. So this means the second mixture. And it says that it's 80 ounces of 20% alcohol solution. So we say 80 times 0.2 is equal to, this is now the resulting solution. So that means we combine both whatever is inside the two containers. So if container A is 40 ounces and container B is 80, so when we combine them, that means it will become 40 plus 80, which will give us 120 ounces. So after nating hinalo yung dalawang solution natin, coming from the two containers, meron na tayong 120 ounces. Okay. Ano naman yung nangyari sa percentage ng alcohol natin? So, yan yung hinahanap natin kung ano yung nangyari sa amount of alcohol na nasa solution after natin ihalo yung dalawa. So take note, yung una, 40 siya, mas konti lang, pero mas marami yung alcohol. Yung pangalawa naman, in terms of quantity, marami siya compared to the first one, pero konti lang yung alcohol. So ano yung mangyayari sa alcohol solution pag hinalo na natin silang dalawa? So that's what we are looking for. So mas dumami kasi pinaghalo natin, naging 120 ounces na siya, pero yung alcohol solution, yung alcohol percentage natin, ano nang nangyayari? So, we proceed to our solving part. Ito na yung equation natin. So, meron tayong 40 times 0.3 plus 80 times 0.2 is equal to 120x. So, as I said last time, okay lang naman ito kasi konti lang naman yung number na sinasagutan natin. So, we just have to multiply 40 with 0.3. So, that's 4 times 3, so magiging 12. And then, isa na yung decimal place. So, supposedly 120 ito, pero may decimal point na isa. So, that's why we need to move it to the left once. So, magiging 12 na lang. Yung 80 naman, 8 times 2, that's 1, supposedly, 160 yon. Diba? 8 times 2, 16. Then may 0 pa sa 80, so 160. Pero may isang decimal point dito, so we need to move the decimal point once going to the left. So magiging 16 lang. So combine, 12 plus 16 is equal to 28. Then afterwards, we need to isolate the x. Dapat siya na lang yung mag-isa. For now, it's on the left side. So, perhaps, we will isolate it on the, right side. So, it would be best if we will isolate the x on the right side. But, it has a coefficient na 120. So, coefficient ito ng x. Walang plus or minus. So, they belong in one term. So, yung goal natin is magiging 1 siya. So, gagamit tayo ng MPE. Paggamit natin ng MPE, magmumultiply lang tayo ng reciprocal ng 120, which is 1 over 120. Whatever you do on the right, do on the left. Again, this is MPE. So, maka-cancel out yung 120. X na lang yung matitira with a coefficient 1. And then, meron tayong 1 times 28, magiging 28 over 120. So, kung mas comfortable tayo na makita yung x sa left side, pwede naman natin ipagpalit yung left at saka right. So, x is equal to 28 over 120. So, itong 28 over 120, we can still simplify this because both numbers can be, they're both divisible by 4. So, kung divisible sila by 4, pwede natin silang i-divide by 4. Yung numerator at saka yung denominator. So, magiging x is equal to 7 over 30. And then, para maging percentage siya, kasi percentage yung hinanap natin, so we still have to multiply this with 100%. So, as a result, this would become 23 and 1/3%. Okay. So, supposedly, okay, diba? magmo-multiply, gagamit pa tayo ng checking dito. So, sige. We will be showing the checking part. Okay. Para makumpleto talaga natin yung Resca. So, sa checking natin, we make sure that once we multiply 20% with 80, added with 30% multiplied to 40, dapat pareho siya sa 23 and 1/3% times 120. So, itong C natin, ditong 20% times 80 natin, magiging 16. At saka yung 30% times 40, magiging 12. At ito naman magiging 28. So 16 plus 12 is 28. So they're now equal. So pwede na natin isulat yung ating final answer in complete sentence. So we say that the new solution was 23 and 1/3% alcohol. Okay, let's proceed to example 7. This is still a mixture problem in chemistry. So the question now is, how much water must be evaporated from 100 gallons of 8% salt solution to obtain a 10% salt solution? So yun pa rin, to organize our work, to derive to our answer in an organized manner, so we will be using Resca. So start tayo by representing what is missing. So we normally say let x be the. Okay. So ano yung magiging x natin dito? So take note, yung hinahanap natin is yung amount ng water na dapat mag-evaporate. So that's it. So we say let x be the amount of water. Okay. And don't forget, it's in gallons. So don't forget the unit. Okay. So let x be the amount of water that must be evaporated. Okay. Then we proceed to our equation now. So same concept. Always remember that this is mixture problem. We're talking about two substances that goes together. Okay? But medyo iba yung ating example 7 kasi we're trying to get rid a part of the original mixture. So, yung ating container A. So, para mas gets nyo. So, yung equation natin, we need to get the amount. Okay. The amount of salt solution in container A. Okay. So, meron tayong salt solution sa container A and dapat may amount of water na mag-evaporate. So, hindi na tayo nagdadagdag ng tubig sa ating container A. But instead, we're trying to remove a certain substance from it. So, hindi na tayo maggagamit ng plus but a minus sign. Okay? Kasi gusto nating mag-evaporate yung tubig dito sa ating salt solution. So, minus na yung operation natin. Minus, dito naman, ito yung amount of salt solution in container B. And then, yung result naman natin, let's say nasa container C na siya. So, ito na yung amount of salt solution in container C. So, paano natin makukuha yung amount of salt solution sa ating original substance? So, that would just be the amount is 100 gallon of 8%. So, 0.08 minus, okay, di ba, ito yung may salt solution at may dapat mag-evaporate yung tubig. So, the amount of water now is we still don't know because that's what we're looking for. So, gagamitin natin yung representation natin which is x. Kasi hindi pa natin alam yung amount. And then, yung tubig, in terms of salt solution, walang salt yon. So, magiging 0% lang siya. Okay? Kasi walang salt ang tubig. And then, ano naman yung resulta kapag nabawasan siya ng tubig? So, in terms of amount, so, magiging 100 minus x yun. Diba kanina nag-add tayo kasi pinaghalo natin. Ito kasi parang tinanggal natin yung tubig. So, we subtract the 100 because in container A again, it's 100 gallon and we are removing the water in which we still don't know. So, magiging 100 minus x kasi mababawasan. And then, ano naman yung percentage? Yung percentage of concentration ng ating salt solution, yung gusto natin is magiging 10% siya. So, 0.10 yung ilalagay natin dito. Ayan. And then we're able to come up with the equation already. So, isa-solve lang natin siya. So, we have 100 times 0.08 minus x times 0 is equal to 100 minus x quantity times 0.10. Yung 100 times 0.8 magiging okay, ganito no, para mas maging madali. Since may decimal tayo dito which is 0.08 at saka 0.10. So, pwede natin gamitin yung concept ng MPE para mas maging madali yung ginagawa natin. Pwedeng mag-move yung decimal twice going to the right para maging whole number siya. And then, at saka, okay, isusulat ko ulit ha. So, 100. Gusto natin maging whole number yung 0.08. But, we need to move the decimal point 2 times going to the right. Yung 0.10 naman, same din. We need to move it twice going to the right. So, magiging 10 na lang yan. Pero, paano natin magagawa yan na mag-move yung decimal point? So, yung ginawa lang natin para maging okay siya na process, para hindi natin mabago yung equality ng ating equation. So, we need to multiply. Since need nating mag-move twice going to the right, we need to multiply a 100 in both sides. Okay? So, yun yung ginawa natin. So, nag-multiply tayo ng 100 dito. Kung ano yung ginawa natin sa right, gagawin din natin sa left side. So, parang i-distribute natin yung 100. So, 100 times 0.08, magiging 8 yun. 100 times 0, 0 lang din naman. Then, 100 times 0.10, magiging 10 yan. So, 100 times 8, magiging 800. X times 0 naman, magiging 0 lang yan. Yung 10 naman, i-distribute natin. So, 10 times 100 is 1,000. And then 10 times negative x, negative 10x. And then we need to isolate um, the x. So for now, nasa right side siya. So itong 1,000 dito, wala siyang x. So kailangan nating mag-add lang ng kanyang additive inverse using the process of APE. So mag-add tayo ng negative 1,000 sa right side. Gawin din natin sa left side. So 800 plus negative 1,000, negative 200 yan. Magiging 0 na ito. Then matitira negative 10x. Then hindi pa isolated si x kasi meron pang coefficient na negative 10. So para maging 1 siya, kasi kailangan natin siyang maging 1x. So we need to multiply the reciprocal of negative 10, which is negative 1 over 10. So kung ano yung gagawin natin sa right side, gagawin din natin sa left side. So maka-cancel out na yung negative 10. Magiging 1 na lang. 1x. The negative 1/10 times negative 200 is 20. So kung mas comfortable tayong makita yung 20 sa right side, yung number lang, and then yung variable sa left side, okay lang din. So x is equal to 20. So paano natin madodouble check kung tama talaga yung sagot natin? So let's do the checking now kasi yan yung kasunod ng ating RESCA. So take note that 8% of 100 is 8. While 10% of 100, because we need to evaporate 20 gallons kasi ito yung nakuha natin, 'di ba? So 100 minus 20. So magiging 10% 'yan of 80. In which 10% times 80, 0.1 times 80 magiging 8. So sa nakikita ninyo, equal sila. So tama na yung nakuhang sagot natin. So, kailangan pala may mag-evaporate na tubig na 20 gallons sa ating 100 gallon of 8% salt solution. Para yung matira na lang, 10% solution na lang. So, we just have to write our final answer in complete sentence. So, we say 20 gallons of water must be evaporated. Now, let's proceed to example number 8. So, yung example 8, 9, at saka 10 natin, these are all about distance. So, ito yung parang dalawang object na magko-cover ng certain distance. So, normally, sasakyan or eroplano or a certain transportation vehicle or even a person or an animal that will walk or run. So, ito yung mga problems na mai-encounter natin sa 8, 9, at 10. So, tatlo kasi meron tayong tatlong cases. So, let's have the first case in example 8. So, Mr. Autobus leaves Manila for Isabela traveling at a speed of 80 kilometers per hour. At the same time, Mr. Aladdin leaves Isabela for Manila traveling at a speed of 70 kilometers per hour. The distance between Manila and Isabela is 400 kilometers. So after how many hours will Mr. Autobus and Mr. Aladdin meet assuming that each bus maintains its respective average speed. So, ano yung ating case 1? So, to better understand, it would be best if we will have a diagram. So, example 8 na tayo. So, meron tayong diagram. So, pag inintindi natin siya, si Mr. Autobus, okay, si Mr. Autobus, nasa Manila siya. So, isipin na lang natin, papunta siya sa right side. Okay. So, and we have as well Mr. Aladdin starting from Isabela. So, let's say yung direction niya papunta sa left side kasi nandun si Manila. Yung si Mr. Autobus papunta sa Isabela. So, yung tanong ngayon, saan sila, at what certain distance will they meet? Okay? So, yan yung hinahanap natin. Hindi pala yung distance. Anong oras sila mag-meet? Considering that, the distance from Manila, kung saan nagsimula si Mr. Autobus, papunta sa Isabela, kung saan naman nagsimula si Aladdin, that's 400 kilometers. So, paano natin makukuha yung sagot? So first, we will represent kung ano yung hinahanap natin. Ano ba yung hinahanap natin? Ito yung time. Kung ilang oras sila, ilang oras yung kailangan nila para mag-meet up. So we say, let x be the time. Kasi ito yung kulang dito. Yung time, and make sure that it is in hours. Okay. Let x be the time it will take them to meet. Okay. Yung kasunod naman yung equation. So, paano natin makukuha yung equation? So, yung alam natin, yung mga distance nila. So, we say, kung ano man lang yung distance traveled by Mr. Autobus, kung i-add natin siya sa distance traveled by Mr. Aladdin, so ano yung makukuha natin? Kung i-add natin yung dalawang distance, so makukuha na natin yung distance between Manila and Isabela. So, paano natin makukuha yung mga distance? So, take note, this is something that you need to recall. The formula to get the distance is simply rate times time. So, yan yung gagamitin natin. So, para makuha yung distance traveled by Mr. Autobus, that's simply the rate times the time. Ano ba yung rate ng pag-travel ni Mr. Autobus? So, that is 80 kilometers. So, magiging 80 times time. Hindi pa natin alam yung time, di ba? Yung time, ginawa natin siyang x kasi hindi pa natin alam. So, magiging 80x. Plus, yung distance traveled by Mr. Aladdin, gagamitin natin ulit yung formula, rate times time. So, yung rate sa pag-travel ni Mr. Aladdin is at 70 kilometers per hour. Times the time. Hindi pa natin alam yung time kasi naka-represent siya as x. So, x din yan gagamitin natin. So, 70x is equal to yung ilalagay natin dito kung ano yung total distance from Manila to Isabela. And alam na natin na 400 kilometers siya. So, magiging 400 ito. So, there you go. Ito na yung equation natin. So, let's go to solving. So that's 80x plus 70x plus, plus 70x is equal to 400. So combine like terms, 80x plus 70x, that will give us a 150x equals 400. Para ma-isolate yung x, meron siyang coefficient na 150. Kailangan siyang maging 1. So, ang kailangan natin gawin, we need to multiply the reciprocal of 150, which is 1 over 150. Whatever you do on the left, do on the right. So again, that's MPE, multiplication property of equality. So maka-cancel out yung 150, yung matitira x. So meron na tayong 400 over 150. Okay. Yung dalawang numero dyan, pwede natin silang i-divide. Okay. Meron silang common factor. Ano ba yung common factor? So meron silang 50 dalawa. So 400 divided by 50, magiging 8. Yung 150 naman, divide by 50, magiging 3. So, para mas maintindihan natin yung meaning ng 8/3 natin, it would be better if we change it into mixed number. 'Di ba? Ang hirap intindihin ko pag sinabi natin 8/3 hours. So, hindi natin siya masyadong gets. So, yung gagawin natin, convert natin siya into mixed number. In which, kung if-follow nyo yung process of changing it into mixed number, makakakuha tayo ng 2, 2 times 3, 6, and once you subtract 8 minus 6, you'll get a 2. So, meaning, 2 and 2/3. So, ito yung sagot natin. So, before tayo mag-conclude na talagang magmi-meet up sila after 2 and 2/3 hours, magdo-double check tayo. Okay. So, take note, makukuha natin yung distance na makukover ni Mr. Autobus by multiplying its rate times the time that we got. So, instead of using the mixed number, gagamitin lang natin yung improper fraction natin. Kung i-add natin siya sa rate, okay, rate times the time of Mr. Aladdin. So, meron tayong 70 times 8/3. And then, expected na yung makukuha natin, kung i-add na natin yung dalawa, 400. So, 80 times 8/3, okay, magiging, 80 times 8/3, magiging 80 times 8 lang yan. And then, take note, yung 70 times 8 natin, pareho na sila ng denominator, di ba? Merong 3. So, we can put them together in 1. So, 80 times 8 is 640. 70 times 8 is 560. $640 plus 560 is what? That is 1,200. Divided by 3, so yung makukuha natin is 400 din. So, tama yung sagot natin. So, we can already write our final answer in complete sentence. We say that they will meet after 2 and 2/3 hours. Okay, now let's proceed to example number 9. So, yung example 8 natin, yung case niya is all about, we're talking about two different objects meeting in some point. Yung example 9 natin is They leave at the same point, but they go in different direction. So to better understand that, let's have example 9. So there are two cars. Two cars leave Manila at 11 a.m. One heading for Quezon City at 60 kilometers per hour and one heading in the opposite direction at 70 kilometers per hour. At what time will they be 195 kilometers apart, and how far has each traveled by then? Okay. So as I said, very helpful kung meron tayong diagram or illustration. So let's start with a diagram. So take note, meron tayong dalawang cars. So let's say we have car A at saka car B. So they start at the same point, but then again, okay, again, this is Manila. They both start at Manila, but yung car A natin, pumunta siya sa left side, kung saan yung Quezon City. Pero yung car B, so hindi siya pumunta doon sa Quezon City, but in the opposite direction of Quezon City. So dito pumunta yung car B. So alam natin na kung saan man lang yung Quezon City at kung saan na yung location ng ating car B, that would just be 195 kilometers because it says that they are 195 kilometers apart. So, ano yung tinatanong sa atin? So, pag nakarating na dito yung car A at saka yung car B dito, in which 195 kilometers na sila apart, so, ilang oras yung kakailanganin? So, we'll start with our representation. So, again, yung x natin is yung hinahanap natin, in which it's the time. So, don't forget that it should be in hours kasi kailangan consistent yung units natin. Hindi pwede na magkahalong hours at saka minute at seconds. Kung hours lang talaga. And normally, when we talk about distance is equal to rate times time, in hours talaga yon. So we say, let x be the time for the two cars to be 195 kilometers apart. And then, magsa-start na tayo sa ating equation. So, similar lang naman siya sa example 8 natin. So, yung idea, kung ano yung distance traveled by car A, we just have to add it with the distance traveled by car B. Kung i-add natin yun, yung makukuha natin is yung total distance kung saan si car A at kung saan na si car B. So given that that they are already 195 kilometers apart. So, yung gagamitin natin ulit, yung idea of the formula distance is equal to rate times time. Ano yung rate ng ating car A? Based from the problem, it was 60 kilometers per hour. So, 60 times, okay, times yung time. Hindi pa natin alam yung time. So, x plus yung rate ng ating car B, which is 70. Hindi pa natin alam yung time. So, 70x is equal to 195. So, ito na yung equation natin. So, let's try to solve it already. So, we start by combining 60x with 70x. That would be 130x is equal to 195. Then, kailangan nating i-isolate si x. So, need nating gawing 1 yung coefficient ng x natin. So, we just have to multiply the reciprocal of 130, which is 1 over 130. So, whatever you do on the left, do on the right. Okay, now, in some discussions coming from YouTube, something that you should avoid is the word transposition. So, by the way, I forgot to mention that in our previous video, but please get rid of the word transposition because there is no such thing as transposition in mathematics. That is actually coming from Pinoy creation. So we do not use them when we do proving in the future. It's very important to remove that kind of wording in your vocabulary in math. Okay, so I would admit that my teachers before in high school were using or introduced to us the word transposition. But later part, it will not help you because there is no such thing as magic from negative. If you transfer it to the other side, becomes positive. So the reason why you do that, or that is made possible because of APE. Okay, so if you hear someone telling you about transposition, you normally hear them in YouTube tutorials. Please think of APE instead because you're adding the same number in both sides. Okay? So going back. So yung 130 natin, maka-cancel out na. Yung matitira is just x. And finally, we have 195 over 130. Pero, mas maiintindihan natin yung 195 over 130 if naka-decimal siya or naka-mixed number. So for now, okay lang din naman if in decimal yung sagot natin instead of mixed number. Kung i-divide mo yung 195 with 130, that would be 1.5 hours. Yung 0.5 natin, if i-convert natin siya from our lesson from module number 3, that would be 1 hour. At yung 0.5 natin in minutes is 30 minutes. So, ibig sabihin nun, yung cars natin, dalawang cars, they will be 195 kilometers apart, going in different direction after 1.5 hours or 1 hour and 30 minutes. So, hindi pa tayo tapos. Yung nasagot lang natin is yung first question. Yung second question is, how far has each traveled by then? Okay. So, paano natin makukuha yung sagot sa ating second question? So, I'll put a marking here na ito yung sagot sa first question natin. Yung second question naman natin, gagamitin lang natin yung distance formula. So, for car A's distance. So, rate times time. Yung rate ng ating car A is 60. And yung time, 1.5. So, 60 times 1.5, 90 kilometers. And then yung car B naman natin, so we say car B's distance is equal to 70 times 1.5. Kasi ito yung rate ng ating second car going to the opposite direction sa ating car A. So 70 times 1.5, you will get 105 kilometers. So ibig sabihin nun, after 1.5 hours, yung mako-cover ni car A is 90 kilometers. At yung mako-cover ni car B, 105 kilometers. So, parang common sense lang, mas malayo talaga si car B kasi mas mabilis yung rate niya. It's 70 kilometers per hour compared to car A na 60 kilometers per hour lang. So, parang logical siya. Okay? So, we're now about to double check if our work is correct. Okay, so, sinabi ng ating problem, um, they're supposed to meet up or to be 195 kilometers apart by 12:30 p.m. Kasi 11 a.m. sila, di ba, nag-depart. So, at 12:30 p.m., car A and car B have traveled 90 kilometers and 105 kilometers respectively. Kung i-check natin yung sum of the two distances, okay, space lang. Yung sum ng ating dalawang distances is 195 kilometers. So, tama na yung sagot natin. And this would also serve as our final answer in complete sentence. So, siguro, we will try to consider this as our final answer. And yung checking lang natin, yun lang. We make sure that when we add 90 with 105, it should be 195. In which 95 plus 105 is 195 already. So we put a check mark if it's true. Okay, so let's now proceed to our last case. So it says that to attend a conference, Mr. Kia left the house driving his new car at a speed of 60 kilometers per hour. After an hour, Mrs. Kia found out that her husband forgot his suitcase and decided to follow him, driving at a speed of 90 kilometers per hour. How long will it take for Mrs. Kia to catch up with her husband? So of course, kung gagamitin yung natin yung common sense, if si Mr. Kia, siya yung nauna, okay, it's like saying na para ma-catch up ni Mrs. Kia, si Mr. Kia, dapat mas mabilis pa siya kaysa sa kanya. So, kaya si Mrs. Kia, yung speed niya is 90 kilometers per hour compared to her husband, which is just 60 kilometers per hour. Kung, let's say, 50 kilometers per hour yung speed ni Mrs. Kia, so hindi niya talaga maaabutan si Mr. Kia. So, kailangan mas mabilis pa siya. So, yung tanong ngayon, kung ganito kabilis yung average speed ni Mrs. Kia to catch up Mr. Kia, okay, ilang oras ang kakailanganin? So, you'll start with the representation. But before we do the representation, I think it would be best if there's a diagram again. I know this is quite understandable compared to the others, but let's have a diagram instead. So let's say we have Kia's home here. So, si Mr. Kia, so umalis na siya earlier. So, let's say nandito na si Mr. Kia. And then, si Mrs. Kia naman, after several time, umalis din si Mrs. Kia. Pero nagka-catch up pa siya. So, hindi pa siya pareho na level ni Mr. Kia. So, ayan. So, our third case is all about catching up. So, case 1, it's all about meeting each other at some point. Yung case 2, Okay, going up, going in different direction. And then yung case 3 naman natin is all about catching up. So we'll start with representation. So we say, let x be kung ano yung hinahanap natin, yung time. So huwag kalimutan, it should be in hours. So yung x natin, yung time for Mrs. Kia to catch up with her husband. So punta na tayo sa ating equation. Yung equation natin, so ganito yon. Yung distance na na-cover ni Mrs. Kia, Mr. Kia kasi siya yung nauna. Okay. And then, dapat yung goal natin, equal na yung distance nila. So, distance of Mr. Kia must be equal to the distance of Mrs. Kia. Kasi take note, kung magpo-forward si Mrs. Kia dito, at some point, magkakapareho na sila ng distance from their home going to a certain point kung saan na sila meet up. Okay? So, that's why yung analogy dito, dapat kung ano yung distance ni Mr. Kia, kung na-catch up na ni Mrs. Kia, dapat pareho na sila ng distance. Kaya equal. Pero, hindi sila magkapareho kasi yung rate ni Mrs. Kia, iba kay Mr. Kia. Yan yung sasagutin natin. So, focus muna tayo sa formulas nila. So, let's say, yung distance ni Mr. Kia, that's rate times time. So, rate times time. So, let's say R sub 1 times T sub 1 for Mr. Kia. At saka yung distance naman ni Mrs. Kia, rate times time pa rin, pero R sub 2 at saka sub 2 din for time. Now, ano yung rate? So, I think obvious naman, no? Yung rate ni Mr. Kia, 60 kilometers lang siya. Habang si Mrs. Kia, 90 kilometers. Okay. How about the time? So, take note that kung yung x natin is yung time na nakakatch up si Mrs. Kia, so, ibig sabihin nun, that's 90 times x. Kasi ito, ang meaning ng ating x ngayon, ito yung time na nakakatch up na si Mrs. Kia. So, ano naman yung time ni Mr. Kia? So, take note, nauna si Mr. Kia for an hour. So, ibig sabihin nun, kung ano yung time na kailangan ni Mrs. Kia para makakatch up kay Mr. Kia, yung time ngayon ni Mr. Kia, madadagdagan lang siya ng 1 kasi nauna na siya. Kaya merong plus 1 dito. So, kung ano man lang yung time ni Mrs. Kia, mag-a-add lang tayo ng 1 kasi nauna si Mr. Kia ng isang oras. And there you go. That's the equation. So, magsasolve na tayo. So, 60 times the quantity of x plus 1 is equal to 90x. So, first, we distribute the 60. 60 times x, and then 60 times 1. 60 times x is 60x. 60 times 1 is 60. And then, need natin i-isolate si x. But since meron tayong term dito sa left side ng ating equation na may x at saka sa right side din. So, kailangan nating pagsamahin yung may mga terms na x sa isang side. So, for now, gusto kong makita si yung mga terms with an x on the right side. Kasi mas malaki yung 90 kaysa sa 60. So, yung gagawin natin, mag-a-apply tayo ng positive negative 60x. So, magiging 60 na lang dito kasi 0 na ito. Then 90 plus negative 60 is 30x. Okay. Okay, I will now explain the magic na ginagawa ng Pinoy. So ito yung sinasabi nila. Kung gusto nating i-isolate si 60 kasi yung 60x merong x so dapat lumipat siya doon sa right side. So parang gagawin natin, sinasabi nila transpose yung 60x dito, positive siya so magiging negative dito. Okay. So parang ganyan yung concept nila for transposition or transpose. Pero again, there's no such thing as transpose. What you are applying is APE. It's just that when you added negative 60x in both sides, yung mangyayari kasi dito, magiging 0 siya. Okay? So, burahin ko ha. So, wag tayong gumamit ng transposition term. So, meron na tayong 30x dito. Kailangan natin i-isolate si x. At merong coefficient pa siya na 30. Kailangan natin siyang gawing 1. So, mag-multiply lang tayo ng reciprocal ng ating 30, which is 1 over 30. So, makakancel out yung 30. Yung matitira sa right side, x na lang. 60 divided by 3 is just 2. So, kung mas comfortable tayo makita yung x sa left side, okay lang naman. We interchange the left and the right side. So, x is equal to 2. So, ito yung sagot. X is equal to 2 hours. So, double check lang natin kung talaga bang 2 hours yung sagot. So, take note that 60 times the quantity of 2 plus 1. Kasi si Mr. Kia, di ba? 3 hours yung time niya. And then, yung si Mrs. Kia naman, 2 hours lang siya. Kasi nahuli siya. So, 2 plus 1 is 3. 60 times 3 is 180. Then 90 times 2, 180 din. So, ibig sabihin nito, they will meet up at 180 kilometers. So, yan yung mako-cover na distance nilang dalawa. So, after, they will meet up at exactly 180 kilometers. So, final answer, incomplete sentence, it will take Mrs. Kia 2 hours to catch up with her husband. Now, let's proceed to example 11. So, example 11 is all about work. So, ano yung work? So, ito yung amount of task na ma-accomplish mo in a certain period of time. So, para kung the whole task, in an hour, you'll be able to finish half of it. Parang ganon. And then, you'll be needing 2 hours to accomplish the entire task. So, in an hour, half lang. Pero pag tatapusin mo talaga lahat, you'll be needing 2 hours. Ganon. So let's have a problem to better understand what it means when we deal with work problems. So work has the WORK. So example 11. So a master brick layer takes 3 hours to put bricks on a wall. So a novice takes 6 hours to do the same job. How long will it take to finish the job if they work together? Okay, so before we try to answer this, so parang logic check lang tayo. Pag may dalawang tao na magtutulungan sa isang task, so of course, mas mabilis siya. So shorter yung time. Okay? So tatandaan natin yan, yung concept behind ng work. The more people, the more shorter yung time na kakailanganin. So, considering na both are functionable ha, hindi yung parang isa hindi siya nagpo-function. So, let's start with R in representation. So, we represent what is unknown. So, we say, let X be the time that they can finish the job together. So, proceed na tayo sa ating equation. So, yung equation natin would be the amount of work that the master brick can accomplish. Plus, since both of them will help each other to finish the task, so yung gagamitin natin na operation is plus. Plus the amount of work that the novice can accomplish. But since they will help each other, so magiging equal sign na yun. And then as a representation that they will help each other, yung amount of work na ma-accomplish nila, dapat magresulta yun sa 1. Kasi 'di ba they will be helping each other to finish one task. So this is just one task at a time. So kaya 1 yung right side natin palagi. So, ano yung formula ng work? Okay, let's recall it from your grade school. That would just be work is equal to rate times time. Pero, makukuha mo yung rate by dividing 1 with the time needed to accomplish the job alone. So, kumbaga, yung definition ng rate dito, that's 1 over kung ilang oras ang kakailanganin mo na if mag-isa lang siya. So, that's how you get the rate. Yung time dito, ito na yung oras na magtutulungan sila. So, magkaiba silang dalawa. Okay? So, let's make the equation already. So, let's start with the master brick. So, work is equal to rate times time. So, yung rate ng master brick, kailangan siya ng 3 hours to do it alone. So, yung rate niya is 1/3. Times the time. Ito na yung time na matatapos nilang dalawa yung task. And that would just be x. So, okay na walang parenthesis. So, 1/3 x. 1/3 times x. Plus, okay, amount of work that the novice can accomplish it. That can accomplish. So, rate ng ating novice, kung siya lang mag-isa, that's 6. So, 1/6. And then, yung time naman, since magtutulungan sila, so x din ito. Then, always remember, yung right side natin, always 1. So, ito na yung formula. 1/3 x plus 1/6 x is equal to 1. So, when you work with coefficients with fraction, ganito na lang. Pwede natin siya isulat as x/3 kasi 1 times x is just x. Then, x/6 is equal to 1. Kung meron tayong mga fractions, like tulad nito, meron tayong denominator sa 3 at 6, hanapin lang natin yung LCD nila. LCD of 3 and 6. Ang LCD ng 3 and 6 is what? That would be 6. So, ibig sabihin nun, kung 6 yung LCD, mamultiply lang natin siya sa both sides ng ating equation. So, multiply 6. Multiply ka din ng 6 sa right side. So, ito yung common mistake ng mga estudyante. Nakakalimutan nila mag-multiply ng 6 sa right side. So, huwag natin kalimutan, whatever you do on the left, do on the right. So, distribute the 6. 6 times x/3, magiging 2. Kasi 6 divided by 3, 2. So, 2x. 6 times x/6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. So, 1x or just x. 1 times 6 is 6. O, diba? Wala na tayong denominators. So, mas magiging madali yung pag-solve ng ating equation. So, doon na tayo. So, 2x plus x. So, 3x. Okay, and then, yung coefficient, 3. So, kailangan natin siyang gawing 1. So, we still have to multiply its reciprocal, which is 1/3. So, x is equal to 2. So, ano yung ibig sabihin ng ating x na may 2? Ito yung kakailanganin nilang oras para matapos yung job together. But we still have to double check if our work is really correct. So, double check natin. So, for the master brick, that would just be, yung rate niya is again 1/3 times 2 plus yung rate ng ating novice, which is 1/6 times 2 is equal to 1. So, I will just keep the checking part, but it will turn out to be 1 as well. And we can come up with a final answer that they can finish the job in 2 hours. There you go. Okay, let's continue with example 12. Example 12 is very important because this is what you will be doing in your performance task number 2. So it's very important to understand this. So this is related to business problem. But this is just basic. Okay, so hindi na natin i-consider yung other factors muna. You will be dealing with that once you have your business subject. Okay? So let me read this to you. Mrs. Cruz would want to start a buy and sell business with a starting capital of 5,000 pesos. So she decided to sell Siopaw. So its original price is 15 pesos. And she's planning to sell it for 20 pesos. So ito yung ibig sabihin ng ating buy and sell. So, bibili ka ng 15 pesos then isa-sell mo siya ulit para meron kang profit. So, ano yung ibig sabihin ng capital? So, yung starting capital, it refers to the amount that you will use for your business. So, kumbaga, 5,000 pesos uubusin ni Mrs. Cruz para makabili ng mga siopaw na yung original price 15 pesos. Okay? Now, let's continue reading it. So I hope you understand what's the meaning of the 5,000, the 15 pesos, and the 20 pesos. So 15 pesos yung original price ng siopaw. Um, she will sell it again by 20 pesos. So if her target profit is equivalent to 50% of her starting capital. So ano naman yung ibig sabihin ng profit? So yung profit, ito yung parang nakukuha mong dagdag from the original price. So yung 15 pesos, if she sells it at 20 pesos, so meron siyang profit na 5 pesos. So mababalik sa kanya yung 15 pesos with an additional of 5 pesos. So, yun ang profit, yung 5 pesos. Yung dagdag from the original 15. Pero, talking about profit, so yung gusto niya, 50% sa starting capital. So, 50% ng 5,000. Yan yung gusto niya, yung profit na gusto niya, yung makuha from her 5,000 pesos. So, 5,000 pesos plus yung dagdag. Dapat 50% siya sa 5,000. So the question now is how many siopaw should she sell? This is the case. So you'll start with the representation. So we say let X be the number of quantities of siopaw that she needs to sell. So we'll have our equation now. So, dapat, okay, price ng ating siopaw, okay, after, by the time that Mrs. Cruz will sell it is 20 pesos. Yung makukuha niyang pera, the total amount of money that she will get would be 20 times the number of quantity. Kung ilan yung siopaw na matitinda niya or need niyang itinda. Pero hindi pa natin alam yung number of quantities. So, X lang muna. So, 20 times X. Minus, okay, kukunin natin yung starting capital niya, which is 5,000. Para makuha natin yung profit lang talaga. So, ibig sabihin, this is the representation for the profit that she gets. Okay? Kasi yung 5,000 starting capital, kailangan talagang mabalik yon. So, kung yung sobra, yan yung profit. So, 20 times the number of quantities minus 5,000. And then, yung goal niya, ito yung goal. 'Di ba? Sinabi, 50% of is multiplication. So, parenthesis, of the starting capital which is 5,000 pesos. So, ito yung target. Target profit. So, there you go. Ito yung equation. So, you'll be able to identify the number of quantities by solving for X. So, 50% of 5,000 is, 50% is 1 half. So, 1 half times 5,000, that's 2,500. Because 50% means 50 out of 100. So, isi-simplify mo yung 50 over 100, 1 half. So, 1 half of 5,000, 2,500. So, kailangan nating isolate si X. So, ito It's another term without an x with it, so we need to add its additive inverse, which is 5,000. Whatever you do on the left, do on the right. Oops, wrong button. So, 20x na lang yung matitira. 5,000 plus 7,000, 2,500 is 7,500. Then, yung 20x dapat maging 1x. So, yung coefficient niya is 20. We just have to multiply its reciprocal, which is 1 over 20. Whatever you do on the left, do on the right. Cancel mo yung 20, yung matitira x. Then finally, you have 7,500 divided by 20. And you will get 375. So, ibig sabihin nun, kailangan magtinda si Mrs. Cruz ng 375 siopaws para makuha niya yung target niya na profit. So, double check natin kung tama talaga. So, for example, 20 pesos each and then 375 pieces yung natinda niya. Yung starting capital niya, hindi counted yun as profit. That's 5,000. Kaya nag-subtract tayo. So, take note, 50% of 5,000 is 2,500. So, 20 times 375, that's 7,500. So, kung tag 20 pesos yung kada isa and then 375 pieces yung siopaw, she will get 7,500. But that 7,500 includes the starting capital. So, we still have to subtract it with 5,000. And you will get 2,500. So, there you go. It's a check. So, our final answer, Mrs. Cruz should be able to sell 375 pieces of siopaw. So that's it. So thank you for listening.